What if God himself tried to stop a war and failed? Think about that for a second. The all-powerful, the all-knowing, standing before kings and warriors, pleading for peace, and still being rejected. Did Krishna, the Supreme, actually lose? Or was his failure the greatest victory no one saw coming? Stay with me, because this is not just about an ancient story. It's about life. It's about those moments when you've done everything to make peace, to fix things, to avoid conflict, and still the other side says no. What does that mean? Is it failure? Or is there a deeper success hidden inside? Today, we'll step into one of the most dramatic moments in the Mahabharata, Krishna's peace mission. A mission everyone thought had failed. But in reality, it revealed something extraordinary about God, about Dharma, and about the way truth always finds a way to shine. So let's begin. The setting. The Mahabharata is a story of brothers, kingdoms, and Dharma. On one side, the Pandavas, devoted, righteous, yet wronged. On the other side, Duryodhana, arrogant, jealous, and unyielding. War was looming. The world stood on the edge of destruction. And there was one last chance. A chance only Krishna could take. Krishna, the friend, guide, and protector of the Pandavas, chose the path of peace. He went, not as God in all his glory, but as a humble messenger, gentle, patient, hopeful, a conversation with Vidura. On the night before, Vidura, the wise uncle of the Kuru clan, asked Krishna, "Why do you go? You know Duryodhana will not listen." Vidura's heart carried years of disappointment. He had tried countless times to change Duryodhana's mind, and nothing ever worked. Krishna smiled and replied, "Yes, I know he will not agree. Still, I must go. Because the world must know the Pandavas did everything to avoid war, they must never be blamed." And this reveals Krishna's heart. He knew the mission would not succeed. Yet he went, for the sake of truth and for the honor of his devotees. The courtroom drama. The next morning, Krishna entered the Kuru court, the great hall filled with elders, generals, and advisors. Dhritarashtra, the blind king, sat on the throne. Beside him, his son Duryodhana. Everyone knew the air was thick with tension. Would Krishna's words soften hearts? Or would this moment decide the fate of millions? Krishna spoke with clarity and power. He reminded them of family ties. He warned of the consequences of war. He spoke of justice, of peace. And then he said something nobody expected. A request so small, so humble, it should have ended the conflict on the spot. Give the Pandavas just 5 villages, nothing more. Think about that. The Pandavas had once ruled vast lands. They had built cities from wilderness. They had endured humiliation after humiliation, exile, betrayal, a rigged gambling match that stripped them of everything. And yet, now they asked for only 5 villages, not half the kingdom, not a share of wealth, just 5 villages to live in peace. It was like asking for a single glass of water from a vast lake, a tiny concession to avoid a war that could destroy millions. The rejection. And then came Duryodhana's reply. Cold, cutting, arrogant. "I will not give them land enough to fit the tip of a needle." And then silence. The court froze. It was not just a polite refusal, it was a slap in the face, a direct insult to Krishna himself. It was as if the mask had fallen away. The truth stood naked before everyone. The Pandavas sought peace. Duryodhana sought only war. And in that moment, what looked like Krishna's failure became his victory. Because the world now saw, beyond doubt, who was guilty and who was blameless. The hidden victory. So, did God fail? It looked like it. The peace mission had collapsed. War was now inevitable. But pause. What if that was never Krishna's true mission? Because here's the truth. God never fails. He guides, he offers, he invites, but he never forces, even if that free will leads us to ruin. And in that court, Krishna achieved exactly what he intended. He revealed the truth. The Pandavas were not aggressors, that they bent backwards for peace. But Duryodhana's envy left no other path but war. And in this, Krishna triumphed completely. If you're still with me, drop her in the comments. It lets me know you value Krishna's wisdom being shared on this platform. Truth revealed. Truth has power. It shapes how people see what is right. It is not enough for justice to be done. It must also be seen by all. Krishna asked only for 5 villages. That made peace possible. But Duryodhana rejected the offer with pride and hatred. The choice was now clear. It's war. Duryodhana's pride and hatred were exposed. Everyone saw his cruelty. What looked like Krishna's failure was really his greatest victory. The psychology of arrogance. But Duryodhana wasn't done. His arrogance was so deep, he even tried to justify himself. He said, I see no wrong in anything I have done. Imagine that. After years of deceit, humiliation, and betrayal, he claimed innocence. And when Krishna challenged him, Duryodhana shifted blame. He said, This is my nature. God gave me this nature. If I am wrong, then God is wrong. A desperate excuse. But Krishna exposed the weakness in that excuse. Yes, God creates our nature. Yes, our past karma shapes us. But we are also given guidance, conscience, and wisdom to choose better. Think of it like this. The rain nourishes every field. But what grows depends on the seeds we plant. Weeds sprout where weeds are sown. Flowers bloom where flowers are sown. And Duryodhana chose weeds, not flowers, even when the greatest guide stood before him. Offering peace, offering change, he turned away. Two students, two choices, two destinies. Now compare this with Arjuna. Duryodhana rejected Krishna's words. Arjuna embraced them. Duryodhana saw Krishna as an enemy. Arjuna saw Krishna as his greatest well-wisher. And notice this. Krishna guided both. To Duryodhana he said, choose peace. To Arjuna he said, choose courage. It's like a doctor treating two patients. One needs medicine to calm down. The other needs surgery. Same doctor. Different prescriptions. One purpose, healing. Like a doctor, Krishna prescribed exactly what each needed. To the reckless Duryodhana, he said stop. To the hesitant Arjuna, he said act. Both were invitations to Dharma, but only one accepted. The deeper lesson. Step back for a moment. Why does this matter for us today? Because sometimes peace is possible and sometimes war is necessary. Krishna showed us that before resorting to battle, he tried everything. Gentle words, reason, generosity, even humility, and when all of that failed, only then did he allow Kurukshetra war to unfold. That's not weakness, that's greatness. The greatness of humility. To walk as a messenger, not a king. The greatness of respecting free will even when it leads to destruction. And the greatness of protecting truth even if misunderstood by the world. Closing takeaway. So did Krishna fail? No. He won in the way that mattered most. His peace mission revealed hearts. It protected his devotees and it taught us a timeless truth. Sometimes, no matter how hard we try, life denies us peace. But that is not failure. It is clarity. It shows us who truly stands for Dharma and who resists it. Krishna reminds us greatness is not forcing outcomes. Greatness is standing for truth. Greatness is honoring free will. And greatness is protecting love no matter the cost. Like Krishna, turn defeats into deeper victories because sometimes the greatest triumph is not in winning the war but in revealing the truth. If this story opened your eyes to hidden victories, share it with someone who's struggling. Sometimes, one story is all it takes to see failure differently. Subscribe to the channel for more reflections like this.